We got an Alex Pereira fanboy talking on Reddit. Here he says, the absolute disrespect for this man over the past month has been disgusting. Bro has given you some of the best moments and most exciting moments of UFC in recent memory. Saved card after card and has been consistent, fighting 3 times yearly, and y'all switch on him after a tough performance. Despicable. He's got a point, but there's a flip side to it. His point is there, he laid it out very nicely. However, the truth is, if you dig a little bit deeper, Alex Pereira was handheld by the UFC matchmakers and fast-tracked to a title shot against Israel Adesanya because of his previous history in kickboxing, and they wanted to have the star at the time, who was Israel Adesanya, finally find almost like a rival, someone who can potentially beat him, someone who can go back and forth with him, a storyline, and that was Alex Pereira. So what did they do? They avoided Derek Brunson. They avoided Dricus du Plessis. They avoided Robert Whittaker. They avoided Marvin Vettori. They avoided Jared Cannonier. They avoided all the possible contenders on the way up to the championship that could have potentially shown weaknesses in Alex Pereira's game. That's what they did. And they basically said, here's Sean Strickland. Here's a guy who could wrestle you, but he really chooses not to wrestle. Here's a guy that's going to strike with you, stupidly. And then we're just going to give you Israel Adesanya. Okay, fine. Then he goes up to light heavyweight. He goes up to light heavyweight and he fights Jan Blachowicz, who is an MMA guy. He's a well-rounded guy, and you got to give him that. But well-rounded is not what I'm looking for if I want to find someone to beat Alex Pereira. If I want someone to beat Alex Pereira, I want someone who's not necessarily well-rounded. I want someone who is primarily focused on wrestling. That's what I want. I want someone who is going to wrestle with intention, okay? I want someone like an Ankalaev who's going to make it dirty, who's going to put you up against the fence and control position, who's going to try to take you down many times. And credit to Alex Pereira, he avoided those takedowns, and he did a great job staying up on his feet, but he was still controlled on his feet. He was put up against the fence. He had nothing for Mr. Magomed Ankalaev. And the truth is, Alex Pereira benefited from fighting strikers such as Yuri Prochazka twice, Jamal Hill, and Khalil Roundtree. Those 3 guys are 4 fights on his record that they're all strikers. And then you have the Israel Adesanya fights. Those are strikers. And you just look and you could tell, matchup-wise, the UFC matchmakers saw potential in Alex Pereira, and they said, hey, let's sort of navigate the shark-infested waters that are the UFC middleweight division. And, not for nothing, light heavyweight's just a bit thin, and light heavyweight is kind of strikers dominant, so that's what it is there. He was always going to have success at light heavyweight. And guess what? For those 4 fights, they kept him away from Ankalaev. Ankalaev was supposed to be the guy who was going to fight him. People were complaining about this. They were like, oh, they're avoiding him. They're doing all this stuff. They're boxing him out. The UFC doesn't want him to fight Pereira. But it comes to a point where everybody else ain't there, and Ankalaev's just sort of standing there like, I'll do it. And then finally he gets his opportunity. And when he did, he seized it. And I don't want to hear nothing about a broken hand. I don't want to hear nothing about norovirus. I don't want to hear nothing about that, bro. Alex Pereira took the fight, and Alex Pereira lost the fight. It wasn't that close of a fight. It was a clear loss. As you were watching, you could tell Alex isn't winning this. Like if you've been watching fights long enough, I've been watching fights since 2009 in MMA, boxing longer. So when you watch fights long enough, you could kind of tell the momentum of a fight, and you could kind of, especially if you know the fighters, you can tell when someone is put in uncomfortable situations. If you've ever watched a Conor McGregor fight, or Alex Pereira for that matter, and you see that their back is up against the fence or they're on their ass because they got taken down, they're losing. Just to let you in on a little secret. They're winning when they're at range, when they're landing shots. That's when they're winning, guys like that, okay? So he did lose that fight due to positional control up against the fence. And a lot of you guys hate it. A lot of you guys are like ripping your hair out because of it. But go watch Randy Couture fights, okay? Randy Couture, Greco-Roman Olympian, is someone who, pretty sure he's an Olympian. Fact check me on that. I'm like 99.9% sure he's Olympian, but I could be wrong. He would hold guys up against the fence and batter them. Go watch his fight against Gabriel Gonzaga. You know, like, it's part of the game. It's part of fighting. And for me personally, I've seen Anderson Silva in his prime. I've seen George St. Pierre in his prime. I've seen John Jones in his prime. And, you know, still to this day, he's kind of getting better. But whatever. That's another topic for another video. I've seen these guys, Demetrius Johnson. I've seen them. I remember I was already watching MMA when Demetrius Johnson was making his debut in the UFC. You get what I'm saying? Like, I'm not one of you Johnny-come-latelys that came into the sport and was like, oh, so who's good? Let's look at the record books. Oh, wow, this guy had so many defenses. I watched all of those defenses. You get what I'm saying? I lived it. So, with that said, watching Alex Pereira was nothing special to me. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, bro. Like, especially because he comes from kickboxing and he's supposed to beat these guys. He was supposed to do what he did to Yuri. You get what I'm saying? This guy's kickboxing is on such another level, and I acknowledge that. I acknowledge all the great things about Alex Pereira. I do. He is one of the best strikers the UFC has ever seen. He has a great left hook, great kicks, leg kicks, all these things. He's a big dude, big, menacing, towering figure, imposing. But Israel Adesanya took them down and dominated him in that round in which he did take him down. He had him in Dagestani handcuffs, and he was just dominating. And that's Israel Adesanya, bro. You get me? I think Israel's only a purple belt, I believe. I believe Israel Adesanya is only a purple belt. Maybe since that time he's earned a brown belt, maybe. I don't know. Correct me if I'm wrong. But Alex somehow, I'm pretty sure, I know he was given his brown belt because I got a video on that. Go check that out. That was a farce of a thing. And then I believe he got his black belt, which is even more of a farce and a slap in the face to meritocracy and things like that. But whatever. He got taken down by Israel Adesanya and held down and dominated for the round. Okay? You're telling me Dricus du Plessis can't do that? You're telling me Hamzat Chimaev can't do that, who I should have named earlier? Come on, bro. You're telling me Whitaker can't do that? You're telling me Vettori can't do that? You're telling me Brunson can't do that? Derek fucking Brunson? What are we talking about here, guys? Alex Pereira is very good, but he benefited from circumstance. He benefited from, you know, and that's cool. That's great for him. Salute to him. I'm happy for him. I'm happy he's not doing the tire things no more. And I'm happy that he's, you know, living his dream and all stuff like that. Salute to him. Salute to him. My only problem is when the fanboys come out and they start talking like he's the GOAT. And they start saying things like he's better than Anderson Silva. And they start saying things like he's top 15, top 10 all time. And he's not. He's not even close to that. So that's when someone like myself, who's actually witnessed the top 15 all-time fight and earned their way to that, right? Like, I've actually seen it, guys. A lot of you haven't. The MMA gurus of the world haven't, okay? And a lot of you guys follow people like that, the Lucas Tracy's. In my opinion, those guys are brain rot for MMA. Okay, if you're an MMA fan, you're brain rotted if you follow those guys. If you want to get educated, if you want to get smartened up on the sport, follow me. And yeah, now here's the outro. Let me know what you think in the comment section below, whether you agree or disagree. It doesn't matter. Just join the discussion, follow for more, and of course, leave a like if you enjoyed the time spent. And remember, you are all, and I mean all, appreciated. Thank you.